You ever been accused of a crime? At least if you're in America, the law says you're innocent unless proven guilty. Police can't lock you up or confiscate your stuff unless you're convicted. Good. But oops, some government bullies found a way around that law. For example, suppose you don't trust banks. You've got a lot of cash you keep in your car.
Carrying too much cash? Police can accuse you of selling drugs or laundering money and seize it.
Seize it without ever taking you to court. And police departments around the country have discovered this is a really good way to raise money.
From flat screen TVs to Rolex watches to over 20 boats, you name it, they've got it.
It's kind of like pennies from heaven, you know, it gets you a toy or something that you need, is the way we typically look at it.
Pennies from heaven. Actually, more than $1 billion is confiscated each year, and often the police auction the stuff off, though they usually keep what they like. And this is a scam, says Ethan Thampi, who runs Americans for Forfeiture Reform. What do you mean? They're just grabbing the stuff from bad guys and saving the taxpayer money on police equipment.
Under asset forfeiture, law enforcement seizes your property without arresting you, charging you, or convicting you of a crime.
The guy whose stuff is taken, he can fight in court to get it back.
Yes, but it's not like a criminal case. He's not entitled to the protections that you have in a criminal case. It's a civil case, and that means that government usually has the upper hand.
And he has to prove that it's legally there, and that can cost him $10,000 or $100,000 in legal fees. Most people just give up and lose their stuff.
Exactly, and that's why it's a revenue scam for the government. The government can seize your property, bankrupt you, or force you to give up your legal rights, your constitutional rights, and keep your money.
One police department used the money to buy a margarita machine, but I gather that most of the time they're using it for police equipment.
Most of the time, but this is also part of the revenue stream that finances the militarization of law enforcement, which is a concern that has been developing across the country.
Now, most people, when they lose property to the police, have no idea this can happen in America. One business owner who repaired used trucks sold a truck to a man on credit, but before he was paid in full and transferred the title, the man he sold it to was pulled over and charged with driving under the influence. The businessman wasn't responsible for that, but the police kept his truck anyway. He couldn't believe it.
The truck done nothing. This is my money. Why are you taking my money? I have never seen a truck drink and drive. I don't think it's the fault of the truck. And they know better.
They know better?
Under asset forfeiture, the government doesn't need anything but suspicion to seize your property and keep it for themselves.
I like this picture of a car in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the police flaunting their forfeiture. This used to be a drug dealer's car, now it's ours.
You know, Congress gave asset forfeiture to the government to prosecute the war on drugs. And this has turned into a massive revenue stream, and after 40 years of a war on drugs, we still have drugs and drug dealers. You know, the only thing we've really forfeited is their rights to property and to liberty.
And the police are richer.
Oh, absolutely. It's like I said, this is a multi-billion-dollar revenue stream for law enforcement.
And for some political self-dealing, the prosecutor in Indiana did what?
So there's this prosecutor in Delaware County, Indiana, Mark McKinney. A couple of years ago, he hired himself as an outside contractor to his prosecutor's office to do civil forfeiture, and he would keep 25% of the total on a contingency basis.
He was finally caught and punished for doing that.
It wasn't a very strict punishment. They only suspended his law license for, I think, 120 days and made him repay about $170,000. He should have been disbarred. He should have been prosecuted.
Companies buy luxury vehicles in America and ship them to China. It's a business.
Absolutely.
Customs says, yeah, this is legal. But the Secret Service says, oh, no, it's not.
And under that interpretation, the Secret Service says that they can aggressively use asset forfeiture to seize bank accounts and vehicles of companies that are doing no more than exporting American luxury vehicles to countries like China or Russia, where they're worth more. In this operation, they're certainly seizing tens of millions of dollars from companies that are doing nothing more than exporting vehicles.
And Customs says this is legal, but
yes.
Secret Service wants
Yes, and you have
What's
this
some nice
conflict between
cars?
two federal law enforcement agencies, and one of them has a direct financial incentive in saying law is one way when Customs says it's not. Why is this the Secret Service's jurisdiction? Their core mission is to protect the president and the currency.
And I should say we tried to ask them, and they would not talk to us about this. I love the clip that your organization, Americans for Forfeiture Reform, posted on its website showing a Missouri police chief clumsily defending civil forfeiture.
There's some limitations on it. You know, it's actually there's not really on the forfeiture stuff.
Actually, there's not really. It's revealing.
Absolutely. The Columbia, Missouri Police Chief Ken Burton, who's talking about these pennies from heaven, what he's really talking about is money that's supposed to go to, under Missouri law, an education fund. But because he gets this federal forfeiture dollars, he gets to spend it however he wants. You know, this is a scam, and the losers are the Missouri educational system and the citizens of Missouri.
Thank you, Epen Thampi.